All right, guys. So, welcome back to another episode of Geekdom Initiative as we are going to talk about season 1, episode 22 of Lost Born to Run. This is definitely Dave's favorite episode, so we will have a lot to say.
Starting early.
No, so this is a Kate-centric episode with an introduction to a character we are both excited to talk about a little bit. So let's hop right into it, man.
Yeah. As you alluded to, not my favorite episode of the series or the season. I like this is I think this is the culmination of my frustrations with Kate. I've talked about it for the last couple episodes of the show, how I'm like, I really feel like the show just doesn't know what to do with Kate right now. And this episode is a spitting image of that. And then it also brings back all the terrible emotions I have from whatever the case may be. And if I ever see that goddamn plane again, I swear to God, I am going to crawl through Disney Plus and delete every file that they have for Lost. I'm so done with that goddamn plane. Belonged to the man I love, the man I killed. Tom killed himself. In Canada, we don't have Hulu.
Is it on Disney Plus?
We don't have Hulu, so all the Hulu stuff is just on Disney Plus. Like, you know the movie Barbarian?
Yes.
That's on Disney Plus for us.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, no. In regions that don't have Hulu, Disney Plus is just all encompassing, so we don't have to pay for 2 streaming services.
Okay. Lucky. Yeah, we get screwed down here. They give us everything and say, "Oh, you have to have them all."
Yeah. But goddamn, I just we'll get into it. There's a lot of stuff, Kate specifically, that I have frustrated with this episode. Why is she poisoning people 2 weeks in a row? Like, that's not cool, Kate. Why are they supposed
to? Well, where
do
you want to start then? I guess that's the best question. Where do you want to start, man? Go ahead.
Let's start with some fun.
Okay.
For a long time, and Ben talked about our good friend Ben. Talked about this character for a long time when he was on when he was still with us, and me and him talked about this character for a long time in the first Lost show that we ever did on this channel. Dr. Leslie Arst is introduced in this episode.
Yes.
And what a fully formed, perfect douche of a character that I love so much.
I love him, man. I love him. Absolutely.
What are your thoughts about Dr. Arst in this episode? And then I have some Damon Lindelof background information.
Okay.
And then also some information that I found using the Wayback Machine as to what people expected of Dr. Arst when he first arrived.
Yeah, I'll be honest. It's actually a little bit of a weird introduction to him. I mean, it makes sense, don't get me wrong, in the context of the episode because of the information he's giving. But what I mean is, it just kind of comes out of nowhere where, like, they've been building this raft for weeks now, and he's just now wanting to tell them this information. Like, I would have been like, hey, man, this would have been really pertinent information like 2 weeks ago.
This would have been great information I needed yesterday.
Yeah, so it's kind of a weird introduction to him. But again, man, I love the character so much. So, yeah, him coming in and just, he's just kind of tying the thing to the stick. And you're like, what the heck is he doing? And then he, lifts it up. And he's like, the wind is going north right now. You want to go north? Or do you want to wait till it goes south? Because it's about to be monsoon season. And guess what's the only thing south of us?
Antarctica.
I love how Jack's like, Antarctica.
I love that Jack and Sawyer are like the nerd and the jock in class.
Yes.
He's like, Sawyer's like, you're a science teacher. And Jack's like, and every question that Arst has, Jack's like, it's going to go south. Oh, Antarctica. Very good, Jack.
Yeah. Exactly.
Just to speak about that line where you're like, they've been working on this for so long. Why didn't he come in and tell them about it earlier? I know you haven't seen the missing pieces.
No, not yet. I do want to watch that.
But definitely worth a watch at some point. Well, about half of them are worth a watch. But there's one where Arzt is talking to, I believe it's Michael.
Okay.
And Michael's like, hey, can you tell me anything else about monsoon season and blah, 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 blah. And I think this is supposed to happen during Exodus. And he's like, you know what, if I'm being honest, I just made all that shit up. I was just worried that, the pregnant lady was going to get kidnapped again, or someone was going to go, there was going to be a cave in. And, I flew down to Australia to meet a girl, and she took one look at me, and she said, no, and then she just left. And Michael's just like, yeah, we've all been through stuff, man. That doesn't give you a right to lie to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, we find out that straight up, Arzt just lied because he was afraid that the plot of Lost would get in the way of the raft launching.
That's great. That's so funny to me. That really is, because when we eventually get to what happens to to Dr. Arzt.
Oh my god. Yes.
Yeah, he has such a short arc, but he's actually such a memorable character for it.
He's one of those characters who continually will come back in any chance they have to put him in flashbacks. He'll be there.
Yep.
And I really like that. So do you want to hear not the Exodus, the impetus behind the character of Dr. Leslie Arzt?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, absolutely.
So Damon Lindelof had a science teacher who was a doctor, but was just a high school science teacher and would constantly remind them that he was a doctor. It's like, I'm a doctor. It's like, then why are you teaching us? And Damon hated this teacher so much with a passion. So when he eventually got lost, when he became a showrunner of the show, he said, you know what? It's time for my retribution. So he put the character Leslie Arzt into the show, and then, spoilers for next week, blows him up.
Yeah.
It's like, that was my revenge for all those crappy science classes that I had to endure.
So what if the guy's real name was like Marst, or like something close to that? Like that would just be funny.
Famously, it was Arzt. Like,
his name was actually Arzt. Oh,
it was Leslie Arzt. It's literally just his teacher's name.
Yeah, that's even better then. Okay. That's funny.
And then I looked up. So sometimes I like to do this where I use the Wayback Machine to see what the internet was saying about this character, when the show was coming out. And so I went to Dark UFO, which was a really popular Lost spoiler site way back in the day, and message boards and all that stuff, where they got the scoop that Leslie Arzt was going to be arriving. It's like, oh, it's weird to introduce a new character in the last couple episodes. So people were theorizing that Arzt, they just heard the name. They were like, Arzt. Well, that sounds like a sinister Dr. Arzt, a sinister character. And there were all these theories about, is he going to be the leader of the others? Because we know the others are in play because of Ethan and blah, 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 blah. Is this going to be like the main villain of everything? And then Daniel Roebuck gets cast. And it's like, all right, well, he's not so sinister, but like Dr. Arzt definitely going to be a dark, menacing presence on the island. And everyone was saying that right up until the show until he was on the show, because he was not in any promotions at all. There was all these things where people were talking about, like, why are they hiding Arzt from us? What is he going to do?
Were they really expecting him to just show up with like a cat, like petting it and stuff?
Some people were like, it sounds like a James Bond villain. And I'm kinda.
That's funny.
Yeah, and then I love Daniel Roebuck as Dr. Arzt so much. And do you know, like, the storied history of his acting career?
Of his career? No.
So not. He was originally supposed to be the other Wet Bandit, but Joe Pesci didn't like him.
You have told me that before. Yes.
And then it's like funny. he was that, and then Joe, because Daniel Stern, I think is the...
Daniel Stern, yeah.
is Marv or
Right.
Harry, whichever one. He wanted too much money, so then they got Daniel Roebuck, and Joe Pesci was like, I don't like this guy. Get him out of here.
That's great.
And then, Dr. Arst is the reason I played Jedi Fallen Order. Where I was like, I don't, it's from Respawn. Do I want to play that game, a third-person game made by the shooter company? And then it's like, I don't really like Dark Souls-y games. And then I heard freaking Grease, and I was like, that's Arst! I am buying this game right now. So Leslie Arst is the reason that I got into started playing Jedi Fallen Order.
That's funny.
But yeah, but back to Lost.
I didn't realize that. I didn't realize he was in it.
Yeah, he's greasy money, baby.
Nice. I didn't realize that. That's funny.
We had a TIE fighter in the background the whole time.
The whole time. The whole time.
Well, now my Star Wars tangent makes sense.
It fits perfectly. Literally, as you were saying it too, I saw it in the background. I was like, "That's messed up."
Yeah. But those were, we'll obviously get a lot more Arst next week, but I just love how he comes in with his little ascot being like, the trade winds are going north.
That's a very interesting pick too. For
it's a look.
Yeah, it's a look.
I like to think that if we ever got and I guess we kind of get this with Expose, but what were the non-core cast members doing? I like to think that Dr. Arst tried on a couple different iterations of the ascot. We had a bow tie at first. He's like, oh no, this one's not working. Then he had just the full bandana. I was like, oh no, I could never. And then he got the ascot. I was like, yeah, that's it. And I also like to. This is not in any text. This is just me. Okay. I like to imagine him and Saeed have a kind of a scientist rivalry, where Saeed's the guy fixing everything. He's like, I'm a scientist.
That is definitely true. That is definitely true.
I like to think that's happening, but
they're probably the two smartest on the island, right? Well, Saeed is. Saeed, I'm sorry. Saeed is one of the smartest on the island.
If I may be Channel Sawyer for a minute, you're a damn high school science teacher.
Yes. Yeah, no.
Jack's a medical physician.
Jack's a doctor. Yeah. Which again, I think specialty, that does. Obviously, you have to know a lot of stuff to be a doctor. I'm not saying that at all, but it's sort of a specialty type of. He knows certain things about the body and things.
Yeah. Based on
different.
Based on the text we see on the show, the only thing I'm certain that Arst knows is spiders, and that gets Nikki and Paulo killed. So I don't know how positive he is.
Fair. That is very fair.
Don't forget, he'll be an expose.
No, that's fair. Wow.
Because he's just lying about everything else.
Yeah, I can't believe they just get away with this in the show the whole time. They're just lying the whole time. Locke is doing his own thing. He lies to everybody. He doesn't care. Which him and Jack have a really good back and forth twice in this episode.
Yeah, I think that would be really good to just move on from Arst right into the Jack finds out about the Hatch storyline.
Which I do have a question because Boone's been dead for a few days now, right? At least.
I would imagine only 2. I don't have the days up in front of me.
Okay.
But yeah.
I'm just thinking he has really dug that thing out pretty quickly.
Well, it was always dug out. When they had the trebuchet, it was dug out like that.
Was it that deep? It didn't seem like it was that deep when they had it. Okay.
It might have just been I don't think we ever got the overhead angle that we get in this episode.
Right. Okay.
We only ever got the side, knowing that oh yes, the trebuchet has to go in there. Why is it called a trebuchet? It's called a trebuchet because it's a trebuchet.
It's a trebuchet.
Yeah, I really I think he's been out there. There's probably been a day where he's been out there with Saeed, explaining the hatch in the game. Which I gotta say, Locke, Saeed, Jack, all standing around it. Nobody thinks to look for the side door.
Yeah, Yeah. No, that makes yeah. I was thinking that too. Actually, when I was watching the episode, I was like, how did they not find the side door? And how have they never seen a dude in a yellow suit walking around with a rifle?
Well,
And
I don't think Desmond's been out there.
I thought
Like,
he had. I thought he went out all the time.
he went out like I think, and we'll figure this out in the season 2 finale a little bit more.
Yeah.
But Desmond really only went out the one time where he killed Mr. Krabs. Why can't I think of Calvin Inman, whose actor is Clancy Brown. All right, I got there.
Yep.
That was the first time he had ever left the hatch. And in the grand scheme,
Oh, you're right. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
I think that's only about 30 some odd days from that ago. Because this episode happens on day... I have the days in front of me now. Happens on day 43.
If I was stuck in that damn hatch, man, I would want to get out of there. As soon as I found out I could get out of there, I'd want to be out of that thing as much as possible.
You also have every 2 hours, there's a button you got to push or the world ends.
True. No, that's true. For sure.
And at this point, Desmond's still a believer, so...
Yeah. Yep.
So I would never leave. Because he probably... The next time he would go out would probably be like the pallet drop.
Okay.
But that hasn't happened yet.
No.
So,
Okay.
What did you think of Jack being introduced to the hatch?
Yeah, no, I really like this scene, and I like the back and forth between him and John with the discretion. You know, talking about, well, why did you tell me about the guns, Jack? And he's like, discretion, right? And then it comes back when he's talking to him later about Kate, which I thought was really fun. He's like, discretion, huh? So, yeah, I really like this interaction, and I love Saeed's reaction. Like, dude, I brought you out here to talk this crazy person out of this crap. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Let's open it.
I brought you out here so you would tell him to bury it, not open it. And it's like, wow, Saeed, you misplayed this situation. But, like, also, Jack, worst case scenario is kill everyone. It's a hatch with no handles. Crazy.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's definitely crazy. Yeah, worst case scenario is not the worst case scenario that he thinks.
Best case scenario, there's food and water and stuff in there. Worst case scenario, it's just a place to put people. It's a place to put people. You don't know what's in there, Jack. It's a hatch that's open.
And I'm actually surprised, which I don't want to keep jumping around him, but I'm actually surprised that Locke doesn't take Walter's warning a little more serious. Because at this point, Locke does believe in what's happening around him and that the island is talking to him in a way.
Yeah, but I also think and I really do. I'm going to miss in a couple weeks when Walt's not on the show anymore and you can't call him Walter. Because I love that you call him Walter. That's just a great thing you do. But I think John is fully committed in his values, right? Not his values, but in his belief that all his answers are at the bottom of the hatch.
Yeah.
Just 2 days ago, he was pounding on the lid of the hatch, and it lit up.
That's fair. No, that's fair. That's fair.
Like, he's had the come to Jesus moment. And
he's seen the light.
It's kind of like a little while back when Sawyer was hearing all the happenings from Walt, and Sawyer says, "Why am I getting the news from a 5-year-old? I'm 10. Then it must be true." Just sarcastically, like, I'm sure Walt, like, John thinks Walt is special in the sense that he's a young person who has a role to play, but I think John still fully believes what he's supposed to do is open the hatch. And if he doesn't open the hatch, Boone died for nothing.
That's interesting. Okay. That's fair.
I think he hasn't said this yet, because I did end up rolling right in from Born to Run into Exodus and just watching all 3 parts. I'll
Okay.
rewatch it again. Has he said the line "Boone was a sacrifice the island demanded" yet? Or is
Not
that in
yet.
excess?
No,
So
not
yeah,
yet.
I
Yeah.
think knowing that is coloring a little bit where he believes Boone died for a reason, and the reason was to get into the hatch.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
But back to the conversation with
Yeah.
Jack and Saeed and Locke. There we go. Everyone's like, "Who's the third person?" The guy we've been talking about,
The bald guy.
the Baldman. I think that's really fantastic, and those are like the three guys you want to have the conversation about this stuff.
Mhm.
And I like that in a worse show, Saeed gets told about the hatch, and now Saeed has a big secret and he can't tell anybody. I like Saeed found out about it off camera, immediately tells Jack about
Yeah,
it.
immediately.
I really do like.
Yeah,
that
because I was trying to
happens.
remember. I'm like, wait a minute, did Locke show him? Because the last thing I remember Locke saying about the hatch to him was, "There's no hatch." He must have been talking about the front, the plane or something. And I'm like, did he show him at some point?
The episode ends with Saeed, like him and Shannon have broken up, and the fire slinging around his face, and he's like, "Now, John, take me to the hatch." And it's like, oh,
That's right. Okay. That's why I forgot about that little part. Then okay, 'cause I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't remember him actually seeing the hatch yet.
no,
So,
that all happens off camera, but
yeah. Okay.
which I'd love to see. Saeed,
Oh, I'd love to see Saeed's reaction to the hatch.
Whoa.
Like, initial reaction. Yeah, absolutely.
but yeah, that we're running out of good things to talk about in this episode, and avoiding the main
Yes.
plot.
Yes. Honestly, though, I see what you mean. It's not a very strong story, and yeah, they really focus on that plane. I mean, they are really focused on that
Yeah,
plane this whole episode.
Oh, you know what? I have one more positives to talk about before we fully dive into the Kate
Okay,
storyline.
okay.
And this is kind of related to the Kate storyline, but it's the only Hurley moment in the episode.
Mm.
I love when Jack and Locke and Hurley are talking about like who would have poisoned Michael, and Hurley's like, "Oh, man, would it have been Kate?" And Locke's like, "Well, now why would she do that?" Because she's a fugitive, dude. And Jack's just like, "Oh my god." And there's like,
Yes.
"How am I supposed to keep track of who knows what?"
It was one of my favorite scenes in the episode. Just because Hurley, he's just like, dude, I'm trying here. Like, I don't know what's going on.
like-
You guys don't keep me in the loop
I just
enough.
did surgery on Boone, and then I had to do his eulogy. I don't know what I'm doing, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really do like that scene.
It's great. No, it's great. And anytime we get Hurley, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Anytime we get Hurley.
Hurley makes his very low impact on this episode, but big impression.
Yeah. I'll tell you another one that I feel that does that for me in this episode, Charlie.
Oh yeah,
I like his little scenes. With the one with Kate at first when he comes up and he's just like platinum. She's like, what? And he's like, platinum record. I got a new platinum record. When they find out I was dead and I'm now alive, everybody's gonna go crazy and want to buy my. I love that. And then the little scene with Claire cutting his hair and stuff. I like little things like that with Charlie. I think they're fun.
Okay, just talking about Charlie for a second. So the
Sure.
first song that he's writing is "Monster Kills the Pilot."
Yes. Yeah.
Is it gonna be a rock opera? Is it gonna be like
think
a
so.
Mamma Mia situation?
Yeah, it's like what's the one what's that movie? Oh, where they Forgetting Sarah Marshall. It's gonna be like that, like the Dracula opera. It's gonna be similar to that.
That would be
He's gonna
fantastic.
come out and do all the characters and shit. While he's
Oh, it's a one-man show now.
It's a one-man show. Just a one-man show of him. Yep. Just him and his guitar. Just playing all the characters.
Can Vincent be the monster? It's just Charlie and Vincent. One-man show.
That's it.
One man,
That's
one
hilarious.
dog.
That's it. That's it. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I love that. Kate, where they're like, she's talking about the raft, and Charlie's like, "That's not a raft. That's a bloody boat. Look at that thing. It's massive." I
Yeah,
really
I
like
do
that.
like her. I do like her in this episode in the now, like on the island.
Oh, I could not disagree more. I'd love for you to
Oh,
tell me
really?
why. Yeah.
Okay. Well, just because I do like I say like I think she fits in everywhere with that storyline. I just think the flashbacks actually hurt the episode
So,
because they're not as important and as intriguing as they make them as it seems, in my opinion.
but it's the origin of the plane. It's the
I'm
origin of the
kind of like you
plane,
though. I don't.
Don.
No, I know, but I'm kind of like you, where I don't really think it matters. I don't. I feel like this was just another thing to add on to her to make her a worse person. Where I
I
feel like what she did originally was enough that they didn't need to add this in, where she killed her like childhood love. I just feel like that was a little too much actually for
yeah,
her story.
I agree. Just stick with the present for a second. So this whole
Yeah, yeah,
episode,
mhm,
the present storyline is about Kate trying to get on the raft
yes, right.
and take Sawyer's spot. Essentially, I think she does such a bad job at literally every turn,
Oh,
and
she
I
does.
think
Yeah, she fucks the whole thing up. Yeah,
it's
for
not.
sure.
And I think it makes me think less of Kate as a character. Something like Kate has been shown to be very capable
Hmm.
in manipulation and even just like tact. But when she goes to Walt, or not Walt, when she goes to Michael and is like, "Hey, so Sawyer, he getting on the boat?" It's like, "Yeah, he's getting on the boat." Okay, okay, but he bought his ticket on the first boat. And Michael's like, "No, he's coming on the boat. I don't care that it burned down."
Right.
And then she does the dumbest thing I've ever seen, which is, but you're sure you want to bring your kid on the boat? And it's like, this whole thing has been about his kid. What are you talking about, Kate?
That's true. Yes.
And it's like, and to be fair, it kind of works because Michael will go to Sawyer and be like, I don't know who the best person to be on the raft. I'm Michael. I don't know. Michael's Cartman now. Uh, but then when she talks to Sawyer just 2 episodes ago in Outlaw, I think the two of them had really overcome a threshold in their relationship where they're a lot closer. And now they're at the point where she's like, "Hey Sawyer, I want your spot. I'm gonna get your spot."
Yeah.
And the fact that Sawyer does not go to Michael immediately and be like, "That bitch is crazy. She's gonna do something to me because she wants my spot on the raft."
I will say this: when she says that line, she seems more like a scared person than a tough person that can handle herself.
Yeah,
I will say that.
I agree. I think the Sawyer walking away and her saying nothing, I think is much more powerful than her
Yeah.
saying, "I want your spot. I'll get your spot."
Yeah, I didn't like that line. I will admit that. Yeah,
Yeah,
it wasn't great delivery either because on her face she looks scared. Like she literally looks like she's scared to say it, but she
yeah.
knows she wants to be tough in the moment. You know what I
And
mean?
I don't have a huge problem, and I agree with you that she does. She kind of is trying to look tough, but in the way my nephew tries to look tough.
Yeah, right.
Um,
Knows exactly what you mean.
I think everyone can picture exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah,
But I get, and Sawyer lays it out where it's when we get off this, when we come back and save her, everyone's gonna come back and save it, but be saved. But there's a big asterisk next to your name, so I get why she wants to get on the raft.
right. Oh yeah,
I just think everything she does and the eventual plan to poison Jin, which ends up poisoning Michael,
yes.
I think ends up being a good plan, but I just
Uh,
like no, I think like Jin is the person who, if Michael is like committed to taking Sawyer, he's committed to taking Walt, and he's not taking and But like him and Jin have like had violent. They're getting along now, but they've had violent outbursts together.
Sure.
Like if Jin is now sick, I would imagine Michael would say, "I'm sorry, brother, but you're not coming on the raft."
Well, also though, if it's anybody else, do you think? I mean, there's nobody else but Sawyer that's going to challenge Kate like that, right? At this point, do you think? If it's anybody else, she gets on that raft, no problems.
Yeah, and I think because a lot of the camp respects her.
Sure.
So I don't think I've always
Oh, him outing her like that is powerful in that moment.
Oh
Because
my God.
even when like Charlie and Claire go to walk away, like Charlie gives her that look, and he's just like, "Oh, like you of all people."
Yeah, this and to go back to like Charlie stuff. This is some of the last really pure Charlie stuff we're gonna get, because even next week we're gonna get into some dark Charlie stuff where
Sure.
he can't
Tries
where he
to
is
drown a baby and
yeah, well, even next episode though, like he's gonna punch Saeed in the face in Exodus.
oh, I forget. Yes, okay,
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So like
Yep,
this
yep.
is the last like pure moment. This is the happiest we will see Charlie.
doesn't he just say, "Okay, calm down"?
Yeah.
Isn't he just
What happens is Charlie punches him, goes to punch him again. Saeed grabs the fist and says, "Do not hit me again."
exactly like you can't even hit Charlie back. Like even Saeed knows he's like, I can't hit you back, but dude, don't hit me again. Like,
Yeah.
please don't make me do this. I love that.
Saeed's like, I have this really cool breakdance neck snapping thing I can do, but I'm not prepared. My core isn't activated enough to do it yet. I will kill you, Charlie. Anyway,
That's fun. Yeah.
but I think the backup to like protect Aaron and Claire is really showing what a good place Charlie's in right now, where he's not even concerned about the fact that he hasn't had a fix in however long. He is just happy and content with the life he has, and like obviously he wants to get off the island. He's writing a rock opera and
Sure.
stuff. You know, he's got
plans.
He's gonna do stuff, but like also like I fully believe this Charlie right now, if he never got rescued and just got to like play house with Claire forever, would be very happy.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So the decision to the outing of Kate, and you forget, like we all forget, like the original crew that went out into the jungle was Kate, Charlie, and Jack. Like these two have been together forever. They have been, and the fact that she kept something like this from him, her extra. Now, what do you think of Sun's decision to be a willing participant in this poisoning of what she wants to be her husband, but ends up being Michael by accident?
Yeah, I feel like this is not a decision that Sun makes on her own.
No,
I think Sun would pull off what she wanted to accomplish if she did it by herself. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like she's more capable than that. And like you said, same argument with Kate. Kate's definitely more capable than that. So this whole thing together just seems weird because I feel like Sun would have been able to do something where she got him away from the boat, like at where he sleeps at. Like she would switch a bottle out where he sleeps at instead of near the boat.
Yeah, I think you're right. And actually, now I'm curious because this isn't a plan that either one of them can pull off without the other.
Right.
Because I don't know that Kate knows well, I guess she. Never mind. I reject that statement. She did roofie Jack last episode.
Yeah, she did.
So never mind.
Yes.
But I think you're totally right. But the fact that we have a
Sun wouldn't have wanted to chance hurting Michael. I don't think.
No, well, she would have wanted to guarantee that Jin was the one that got. I don't think it has anything to do with Michael. I think that ship has thoroughly sailed.
No, I just mean she wouldn't want a chance hurting him by them mixing up the bottles like what happened. I think she would have thought it through like, no, I can't do that. I have to do this. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, the accelerated timetable, I think also plays a big factor in why they aren't able to pull something out like this.
Sure.
Like, for all intents and purposes, before Arst gets out there with his ascot and starts waving his flag around, the raft's not leaving for like 3 weeks, and now it's leaving in 16 hours.
Right.
So I think given that, there probably would have been what you said, where, you know, they get him away from camp, away from the boat.
Yeah.
And I really like the short scene we have between Jin and Sun, where we get an extended version of this next week, but where Sun goes up to Jin and is like, "You're really leaving?" And like there's such pain on both of their faces.
Yes.
Because Jin can't say why he's leaving, and Sun can't say why she wants him to stay, and they're both just so upset and sad. He's like, "You're leaving?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm leaving."
Yeah,
It's like,
it's actually a really good scene. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It's a really good scene.
What do you think of when Michael eventually gets poisoned?
Yeah,
And first of all, I love when Jack goes to bring him water, and Jack's like, "Don't drink out of that one. Drink out of my bottle." And Michael's like, "Did someone poison me?"
yeah. He immediately knew. Yeah, he was like, "Wait a minute." He's like, "It was Sawyer." It was Sawyer. I know it.
Well, I think also, like, I think most of the camp has been operating under the assumption that Sawyer was the fugitive.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, absolutely.
I think everyone's kind of been operating under that assumption, but because of XYZ reasons, like, they've all decided they're chill with it. But then when it's revealed that
he's
it's
been
Kate,
called out. He was called out for that earlier in the season, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody kind of said it was him, and then it never got corrected. It just kind of stayed that way.
well,
So-
in fact, it was the opposite, or not the opposite, but it was worse, where it was in the pilot part 2 where him and Saeed are having a fight, and Saeed's like, "You were the fugitive," and Sawyer's like,
Right.
"Yeah, I'm the fugitive. You're the terrorist." And it's
Yeah.
like, But I fully believe that everyone thought that. So I think it's right for Michael to jump in there. And I think now, very rash and very aggressive, but I think totally justified what Sawyer does. Where he's like, "Kate just threatened me. I know she's the fugitive.
Mm-hmm.
And I have warned her not to cross me.
Don't mess with me. Yep, absolutely.
I have said, I will out you. Don't do it." And now she's done it, and I'm going to reveal it to everyone. And I love the whole, you know, that poor Joanna who died swimming, which is like, oh yeah, Boone tried to save her but couldn't.
Yes. Great callback too.
Really great, really great.
Yeah.
It's like, and I think that's what someone like Kate would have to do. I
Not
don't
to
know.
mention Boone is on everybody's mind.
Yeah,
It was
so
brought up at the funeral, so that's actually a really good way to dig.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
even worse.
You're right.
My question has always been, what is Kate's long-term plan? Like, here's what's going to happen
Yeah.
when you get stateside. They're going to be like, all right, Joanna Jacobs, she's alive. Contact her next of kin.
Well, I'm not even thinking that. I'm thinking if they get picked up at all by on the raft by somebody legit, they're still going to figure out who they are, right? It's not like she's
Well-
going to have a chance to run. I don't see that happening.
Well, I disagree with you because I think it's 2005. People don't have iPhones yet. Like, the odds of them just getting picked up by like a fisherman boat or something, or like a large cargo ship from a country that doesn't speak English, I think are very high. And the chances are she would be able to slip away as Joanna, but then eventually Joanna's family is going to get notified that, hey, Joanna, she did not die on that plane. She's
Right.
alive, and she's with the Ukrainian fishing boat. I don't know why a Ukrainian.
Well, I guess I'm just thinking like if somebody picks them up, even if they don't speak English, they're still going to be like, "Hey, we picked up some Americans in the water." Like they're going to be calling back to their wherever
Yeah.
they're going. Like, "Hey, have some people waiting because I don't know what the hell's going on here."
True. I think Kate's plan was get to port before the Americans show up, and then just disappear like she's done so many times before. I don't think it's a well thought out plan, but
no, that's what I said. I don't think it's well thought out at all. Yeah, I think they would detain them before they were able to just walk off of a boat and just slip away.
I don't know, man. Like people do some crazy things.
Oh, it's possible. It's definitely possible. Maybe they get picked up by pirates. Maybe the ship gets boarded by pirates, and that's how she slips away.
Look at me. Look at me. I am the captain now. I could see.
You know what, though? Honestly, she could just steal a life raft off them. If it's a big enough boat, life raft, be out. See ya.
This isn't the Titanic. Like, it takes a while to get life rafts down now.
No, who knows?
Yeah, I'm not a nautical man myself. You know, I don't know things about boats. I see a boat, and I would have been embarrassed if Charlie was like, "That's a bloody boat." I would have been like, "Sure, dog. Yeah, it looks like a raft to me. I don't know." So we talked about the poisoning, Sun's involvement. Jack confronts Sun in this episode, right? And is like,
"Yes,
hey, I know you did this." Is that the monster? Monster kills the pilot.
Bad dogs.
And is like, I know you did this because you're the only one who seems to know about plants on this island.
Yeah.
You need to have a conversation with Jin. And because he's going. And like, figure it out. And I really like that. I really like that. Jack is used very sparingly in this episode, but I think if I had to pick like an MVP of the episode, it would definitely be Jack.
Okay.
Where just every time he's on screen, he's doing and saying the right things. He's got that great line that you talked about earlier where Locke says, "You don't think I needed to know that Kate was a fugitive? I used my discretion, Locke." That's my Jack voice, by the way. It's just kind of, it's just
high
like
pitched, a little nasally.
It's like a guy who hasn't taken his allergy medication in like a week.
Fair enough. Nice.
I'm not good. I don't do impressions. All my D&D characters sound the same. Just like that one's happy me, that one's grumpy me, that one's sad me. Awesome. Do you want to anything else on Island you want to talk about before we jump to the flashbacks and that goddamn plane?
No, I think we hit everything. Yeah, I think we hit everything on the island. Unfortunately, now we have to talk about this.
So are they supposed to? So did they expect us to believe that Kate wasn't wearing a wig and that was in fact blonde hair? Because worst wig I've ever seen.
Yeah, she had like 4 times the amount of hair with the wig on, and then when she takes the shower, she's got like regular hair. She's got like hair out to here, and then all of a sudden,
if you told me that Juliet, like the actress who plays Juliet, was in that scene from the back, and then they switched it to Kate, I would believe you because I was like, that's just not her hair. Why are you lying to us?
Yeah. Why did they just dye it and then shoot? Yeah, I don't know.
A little behind the scenes for the blonde persona though. Do you remember what her alias was?
At that moment? No, not at that moment.
Joan Hart, which
that's right. Oh yes, right.
Obviously,
she picks up the letter and the money. Yeah.
Obviously, a reference to Sabrina the Teenage Witch, because one of her aunts is her mom. Which I think is a lot of fun. They do that a lot with Kate's aliases, where they will be references to famous actresses of the era, because they're trying to show that, like, Kate was on the run in like the mid '90s. When she was like 22, she wasn't that creative.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, retraction. Last week I talked about how all this stuff happens like post Nathan Fillion. I could not have been more wrong about this.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, she goes from this to the Nathan Fillion stuff.
Ah, okay. Okay.
So, even more desecration on Tom's grave.
Yeah, I
Uh,
said earlier, I really don't like that they added this. I don't like the storyline for her. It doesn't, to me, make sense.
I think it's just it doesn't make sense. I think it makes Kate look like a worse character
Yes.
because not only does she seduce a married man, and I get it. You know what? Do whatever. You know what? Who am I to judge? But I think for the heroes of our story, I think that's kind of messed up. And I know we're supposed to think she's flawed, but like we've already seen her rob a bank. We've already seen her
Yeah.
crash a one-armed man's car. Like we already get it that she's flawed. This is messed up for her to do, and then to get him killed, which brings up my whole whatever the case may be problems, where she's like, the plane belonged to the man I loved, the man I killed. Tom killed himself. Why? My wife could be driving that car, and I'm like, I'm not getting in because that does not go well for me in any situation.
No, I'm like, take the car. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, I'll call. I'll send papers to wherever you end up. Like, no, the cops are coming.
It was the kiss. The kiss is what killed him.
I I don't understand. And remember this, like all Toms in Lost suck. Damon Lindelof clearly had something against Tom because Thomas is Claire's baby daddy who sucks.
Sure.
Mr. Friendly's real name is Tom, and like he doesn't suck. Like he's a more interesting other, but at the same time, like he does kidnap kids, and he does also kind of suck.
A little bit.
But like, and then there's a couple others. Like if your name is Tom on Lost, odds are you suck. And this guy, what a weenie. Like the fact that Kate goes to just like this is from what Kate did, the flashback next season. This is a pretty small community that they live in Iowa.
Yeah.
He has to know Kate blew up Wayne. Like Kate is a murderer. And not only does he, upon like she breaks into his car, and then he's just like, you know what? I'm just going for it. I'm just like, you know what? Come stay at my house. Yeah, I'll move your mom into different arrangements for you. Whatever. It's all chill. And I think this episode also, I think, gets another big problem I have with this episode is I think it's worse. The flashbacks specifically are worse given what we know in the future. Not only the fact that Tom definitely knows about the murder that happened.
Yeah.
But
oh, yeah, for sure.
The Kate's mother yelling when she sees Kate. The first time through, you're like, oh, that's messed up. Something terrible must have happened here. And then we have to have a whole flashback next season to explain why she screamed when she saw Kate.
Yeah.
Which I actually am a fan of that one because that's the Cassidy and Kate are best gal pals flashback episode. But it's just...
Which I think is actually the most forgivable thing she kind of does. Don't you?
Sorry.
And again, I mean like she was right or anything like that. I just mean kind of understand where she's coming from on that particular thing that she does.
Yeah.
But everything else, she's kind of just a bad person.
Yeah. And I get, and yes, obviously the person Kate killed was a bad guy,
Yes.
abusing her mom. Terrible. Right. But
again, she should go to jail, but
Kate has done, again, first flashback or second flashback episode we ever had of Kate was her robbing a bank.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And she killed 4 guys in that episode.
Yes.
Kate is not pure at all. And again, we like having flawed characters. We're not quite at the Breaking Bad era. Everyone has to be an anti-hero, but we are at the point where we want flawed characters. And Kate's already flawed. So giving her all this, just it really muddies the waters, and it makes me root for her less. And then when
Yeah.
they dig
Oh,
out,
for sure.
but when they go to that stupid tree, when my least
Oh, here
favorite
we
thing,
go.
my
Here it
least
is.
favorite thing in fiction is when two characters, when Don, let's just do some role playing for me. So when I ask you a
Sure.
question, I'm gonna need you to I'm just gonna need you to say, what are you talking about?
Okay. Okay.
Hey Don, do you think it's still out there?
What are you talking about?
You know what? And I hate when nobody talks like that. Nobody talks like that. And then you immediately get it. It's like, no, he just said he didn't know what you were talking about. And then they drive out to this random tree. And it's like, let's dig up our time capsule from 1989. Which, first of all, where's the timeline on this? When did you bury this? Right before, how old are you people? How is Tom a doctor if you guys are only supposed to be like 24 years old? What's going on, Don? Anyway,
I don't know. I definitely see what you mean in this episode
Then-
because it's
they're like,
even
oh,
that
this
conversation they have. Where
this
oh, go ahead.
when they have the conversation. Are you talking about the recording? But like
Before
this
that,
is-
right before that.
Oh, right before that. But like, oh, can't you believe that we
You
buried
know this
it out
isn't
here?
fair. You know it's not fair that you came back. Like
It,
you know, like
to be fair, he's right. But also,
oh yeah,
Tom,
no, he is.
Tom, call the cops. This woman's a murderer.
A murderer.
I get it.
Yeah.
I
Right.
get it that you had a crush on her in 1989. But also, you have a wife and kids right
That's
now,
a
man.
wife and kids. Yeah, that's what I was thinking the whole time. Like, I get you're in love with this girl, like from being kids and stuff together, but you have a life. Like, you can't just throw that away because, like, I get helping her a little bit, but he goes way too far, in my opinion.
Way too far. Way too far.
Yeah, way too far.
And like, so at best,
Like, so what was he? Here's my question. Actually, I do have a question for you.
yeah.
Was he leaving with her when he won't get out of the car at the end?
I think he gets in the car in hopes that she'll turn herself in.
Yes,
But
of course.
he didn't
But the fact
assume-
that he won't get out and he knows that she's just going to gut it anyway, he's got to know that.
It's like, is he hoping to Bonnie and Clyde this thing? Like, what's
don't-
the plan, Tom?
Yeah, I don't know what his plan was at that point.
And then-
I don't.
When they pull out that goddamn plane out of that lunchbox, and it's like,
Which
oh,
time?
we were.
Which
Oh my
time?
god, she plays with it so much. Every time I see it, and it's like, oh, we were gonna travel the world together. Oh yeah, you know, Katie, we were gonna do it. It was gonna be me and you forever. It's like,
Yeah, that mixtape is or whatever.
what? And also, Kate, this is the thing you're holding on to, not the lunchbox, the goddamn oceanic toy plane. Like,
I think because it meant so much. To him. I
it
think
didn't
that's
though.
what they were trying
He had
to go
moved on.
for. Oh yeah, no, he had. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you.
And the man
don't
I,
know, man.
loved, Kate, when did you love him? When did? Are we supposed to believe you've been pining after him all these years? I don't buy it, Kate. Because
No, I don't
everything
buy
you've
that.
done has been done to put this man in jeopardy. And you got this man killed. And no, well, Tom got himself killed. You didn't kill him. But also, so you're just lying to Jack. When Jack's like, what does the plane mean? What does the plane mean? It belonged to the man I loved, the man I killed. It didn't. It didn't belong to that. You're just lying. You're making
Which
a
neither
bad
one is
episode
true, right?
worse.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like you.
yeah.
The true story was it belonged to a man who I kissed twice in a field, and then I got shot in a hospital parking lot. Like
Look,
that's
man,
what.
you can't be mad. They were like Forrest and Jenny. Okay, you can't be mad at them. They didn't have anything else. They just had
They
each
weren't.
other.
They no, they didn't. He has a wife and kids.
No,
They had more.
she taught him how to dangle.
2 years from this flashback, Kate's gonna marry Nathan Fillion.
That's fair. No, that's fair, man. She almost had it in that one. Yeah, she almost
She-
thinking that.
She didn't keep anything from Nathan Fillion.
No.
She didn't keep his brown coat. She didn't keep the rookie badge. She didn't keep his castle.
Wow. That's
She didn't-
funny. That's
she didn't keep his-
hilarious.
I can't think of another Nathan Fillion property.
I don't know. I have no idea.
That fan film starring him as Nate Drake.
Should have kept a copy of that. Definitely should have had a copy of that.
She's just watching that in the hatch.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's just not good. I agree with you, man. It does feel like it goes on and on. Like it just feels like this is just so ridiculous.
You know what it reminds me of? And I don't like to get political.
Okay.
And by political, obviously I mean the only thing people care about these days.
Right.
The Last Jedi. It reminds me of the goddamn dice. Those have never been important. Why are we trying to make them important now? Why are we trying to make the plane happen, Kate? It's not gonna happen.
They were hanging though in episode 4.
They
hanging.
were. Yeah, I get it. They were hanging.
No, they were not important.
It wasn't like Han Solo never picked up the dice and were like, "This was from my girlfriend who worked for Darth Maul."
Nope,
they were really important to me.
Nope,
and you know what?
not one time.
And you know what? This one time I was running through an Imperial checkpoint, and a guy asked me, "Who are your people?" And I said, "I don't have any people." And the guy
We don't
said,
talk about that. We do not talk about that on this show.
Solo. The smirk at the end is what really kills me with Solo. It's like that guy was so proud of himself.
Yeah, he was.
Anyway,
it's so bad. It's so bad.
and then later he talks to Lando about his dad. So you do have people, Han. You do have people. Anyway, this episode sucks, and I'm excited for Exodus next week.
I am excited. And we are going to do all 3 episodes right at once. We're going to knock them out and just do it all. Talk about all 3 of them.
Knocking them out, and if the podcast ends up being too long and you need to chop it up into episodes to release, that might be fair.
It'll be fine. We'll just go crazy, man.
You know how I had almost no behind the scenes stuff for this one? Exodus got some behind the scenes stuff.
Just a little, huh? Just a little.
Yeah, a lot.
I have a few notes. I have a few notes.
Anyway, yeah.
That's great.
Anything else on this episode?
All right. Is there anything else you want to talk about on this one? I was going to say I don't really have much else. I think we got to all the stuff, and of course, we're going to keep going.
The only interesting thing, that goddamn lunchbox that had the, we'll see Kate stealing that lunchbox when Jacob touches her. That was a bad way to say that.
Didn't come out wrong.
In the flashback where you see Jacob choosing all the candidates, the thing that Kate is stealing is the lunchbox from that is their time capsule.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we'll see that again,
fun.
and they buried it on the 15th of August, 8:15.
Nice.
That's their flight.
Everything connects to the numbers.
Yeah, this episode sucks. I'm
I gotta be honest though, this first season is very all over the place a little bit now with the story for me. I didn't know it was this kind of weird because the numbers just kind of came with that Hurley episode and then went away again, but then they get important again and then they go away again. You know, it's very weird how they bring them back.
Again, the numbers are much more important to the ARG than they are to the actual show.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And
I guess they are important with the candidates and everything, but like that's a season 6 conversation.
All right. Well, guys, let us know what you thought about this episode. Let us know if you love the little plane, if you hate the little plane.
If you like if you like The Little Plane, this isn't. You know what? Go to Northern Entertainment Group and unsubscribe. I won't tell you to unsubscribe
Wow.
from this channel, but because that wouldn't be cool. But go over to the channel I'm on every week and unsubscribe from there. I don't want you. You know what? Delete. Delete your YouTube channel.
Just delete it. Just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Just completely delete your account from YouTube.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we will see you next time, where we will be going for a little while longer than this about Exodus episode 1, 2, or part 1, 2, and 3, I should say.
Yes, sir.
Episode. So, Dave, let everybody know where they can find you, man.
As long as you don't like That Little Plane, you can find me over at Northern Entertainment Group on Facebook not on Facebook, on YouTube every Tuesday, talking TV shows. And goddamn, do we have a lot of TV that we're talking right now. Just to run down the list of things that things that have news items and that we are trying to cover. We've got Survivor, Big Brother Canada, Mandalorian, Bad Batch. And Bad Batch mostly consists of me saying, hey guys, Bad Batch was cool, and them saying, David, no one else watches Bad Batch. And I was like, fine. Ted Lasso comes back next week. Succession's at the end of the month, and so much more. We have TV coming out of our butts right now. Great time for television. The Flash ends this month. Like, we're going to talk about that probably. So if you want the latest and greatest in TV news and commentary, come over to Northern Entertainment Group every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central, or 8 p.m. Eastern for Have You Seen This?
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, guys, go check it out over there. They do a lot of great stuff. So I'm glad you come over here and help us out with this. And we got to get you on the Star Wars show somehow, man. We got to get you on there.
Wednesdays are tough for me, but if you ever pre-record, I'll be there.
Yeah, it's just tough because we do it the Wednesday night after the episodes come out. So maybe once the Mandalorian's over, before Ahsoka starts, something like that, we bring you on, and so we can pre-record it. Yeah. So, guys, please go to our channel, Multiverse of Geekdom. I am Jedi Master Tuck. You can find me on Twitter at Jedi Master Tuck if you want. Right now, we are pushing our Titans of the Turf, guys. We are so excited about this new thing that we have just started. It will be officially released in about 3 weeks. We're about 3 weeks away now. So please check that out. But you guys can find me over there doing Star Wars stuff, comic book movie stuff, TV, movies, everything. And we are going to actually start tonight a new gaming type show where we talk about games that are out, trailers that are coming out, and stuff like that. So check that out also. Please like and subscribe to the channel because we are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So please do that for me. And as always, guys, it has been great, but we got to go. It's time to go. You guys have a great night. Yeah.
Bye.
You don't have to go home, but you can't watch this anymore.
Closing time. No more time for season 1. Has lost his ending. Season 1. I'm going to keep singing until you end the show. Closing.